Welcome to Astronomy Spotlight for February. My name is Kirk Rosberg. I'm the planetarium coordinator here at the Hastings Museum. And this month I want to explore the northern lights, the aurora borealis, and also give you some resources you can use to find out when or if the aurora may appear from your location. Recently, scientists announced that the sun had reached solar maximum, the peak of solar activity in its roughly 11-year cycle. This means that the chance of seeing the aurora borealis or northern lights is generally higher now than at most other times. We have already had a couple of good shows, but it is not over yet. In fact, some of the best displays tend to occur shortly after solar max has passed. Most of the amazing displays we might see from Nebraska are due to coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, following a solar flare, generally a strong solar flare. Sometimes, however, after a strong X-class flare, there is no coronal mass ejection. And we've been seeing a lot of this lately. They are called sympathetic solar flares. As far as solar flares go, we usually need a strong M-class flare, which are the moderate flares, or a pretty good X-class flare, which are the strongest flares. Solar flares are primarily visible in X-ray and extreme ultraviolet imagery. If one of these flares manages to lift a CME off of the sun's surface and is directly or nearly directly headed for Earth, we at least have a chance at seeing the aurora borealis. But that is not all we need for a great display of the northern lights. We also need the Earth's magnetic field to have the opposite polarity of the material in the CME, kind of like a bar magnet, since we're talking about magnetic material here. The magnetism of similar polarity tend to deflect each other, but opposites in this case do attract. So this means that on a graph of the solar wind, the BZ aspect, which is the Earth's interplanetary magnetic field, needs to point south, and the more south, the better. Another factor is the density and speed of the material in a CME, coronal mass ejection, carried along by the solar wind. And some good websites to consider are spaceweather.com, swpc.noaa.gov, which is the Space Weather Prediction Center, and spaceweatherlive.com, which can show you all of the latest solar flares and an abundance of other related information. There is also an app for Space Weather Live. Thank you for watching this month, and join me again for another edition of Astronomy Spotlight. My name is Kirk Rosberg, and again, thank you to Katie Carr for helping me produce this. Join me again next month.